Hey guys, Pastor Mike coming at you. We're in Mark chapter 3 today, so let's get at it. Okay, so have you ever been asked to do something or given an opportunity where you feel like, I'm not feeling qualified enough to do that? This crazy opportunity maybe came along and just not really feeling like I'm qualified to do that. I had a lot of those when I was early on in my music career and working in the music business. I had a couple times some really large artists and some people I looked up to. I even maybe had their record. And I had an opportunity to play with them or to fill in with them. And I felt when the job was first offered, I was like, I don't think I'm qualified. I kind of had a little bit of imposter syndrome, maybe. That's kind of a buzz phrase going around anymore. Or maybe even, I'll keep, maybe talking about my own experience here, but when I made the decision to actually come to Pierce and become a youth pastor full-time, that was a little scary because I'd been a worship pastor for 17 years, and I had a master's degree, and I've got doctoral stuff, and so I had all the credentials in that and all the experience, and I was the expert in worship and that stuff. But when I decided to come to Pierce, the opportunity was there, and I felt the call to come in to do a different kind of ministry. And I felt like, I don't know that I'm qualified for that. I don't have the right credentials and experience yet. Turns out I actually did. I was second guessing myself a lot, but God called me into that. It's just like some of those other experiences, and I'm sure you've had those same kinds of things. So listen, Mark 3, this is where Jesus goes out and he finds his crew. He finds his disciples, and they weren't real qualified. They were kind of, pretty simple guys. Some of them are rough guys, and most of them were fishermen. But it says here, this is in verse 13 through 15, this is a verse that I find really funny. It says, he appointed 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach and to have authority to drive out demons. Okay, so here's where it kind of lights on fire for me, and I think it's kind of funny. I feel the same way maybe that the disciples did. So Jesus didn't just ask them to accept a job offer. Okay, so he offered them an unpaid job, an unpaid gig, right? That required, of all things, demon exorcism. It's kind of scary stuff. I'm sure they were like, I'm not really qualified for that. I've never had to do that before. Where do you get those experiences? So there were hundreds of excuses for these soon-to-be apostles. I'm sure that they were unqualified, they were uneducated, they were most certainly unprepared, but they were picked by Jesus. These were the kind of guys, they were picked last for dodgeball, but Jesus still saw in them something that he valued, or he saw what he needed in these guys. And despite all their valid excuses, they said yes to Jesus. And these fishermen and tax collectors, and they ended up changing the world. And their obedience, here's the kicker here. So their obedience over 2,000 years ago has echoed and continues to echo throughout human history. Okay, they were ordinary guys, but their impact on the world was extraordinary. You may feel like you're ordinary, and that's totally cool. There's something extraordinary about being just ordinary. But Jesus doesn't care about your past or prerequisites, okay? So he doesn't care about your past. He doesn't care about your prereq. He doesn't care about your credentials hanging on the wall. He doesn't care, in my case, how many records I played on, or how many tours I've done, or with you. He doesn't care about the trophies. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He doesn't care. He's not looking for the smartest. He's not looking for the strongest. He's not looking for the cutest or the most charismatic. The Bible is packed full of stories of God using ordinary men and women for extraordinary things. ordinary men and women for extraordinary things. And that includes you. And that includes you. You could be used for extraordinary things, and God will use you. And Jesus' invitation is still the same now as it was back then. And it's simply follow me. Follow me. So I go back to some of those gigs that I was offered when I was like 22, 23 years old, when I was starting to tour, and I'm meeting these big name artists, and it's like, hey, we need someone to fill in. Can you learn 60 songs in 4 days and then get on a plane? I'm freaking out, what do I do? I'm in school and I'm trying to tour with my band. So how do I do that? I felt overwhelmed and I felt underqualified. But what I said was, I'm in. So Jesus says, follow me. And I hope that your response is, I'm in. So listen, guys, that's it. When you feel overwhelmed, you feel underqualified, just take a step forward, take a chance, move on faith, and let God do the rest. Let God do the rest. So when he says, follow me, say, I'm in. All right, that's all I got. I'll see you next time, guys. Until then, keep pushing.